Finally, a special essay from NewsHour viewer Stephen Kloepfer. Tonight, he offers his humble opinion on why we need a bit more poetry in our lives.
We need more poetry in our lives, whether it's simply to enliven our day or, in more solemn moments, to help us bear the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. Reading poetry can add beauty and balance to our overcommitted, overconnected, and over-tweeted lives. Great poetry is not restricted to 140 characters, but it is humbling to know what a visionary like William Blake could do with even fewer than 140 characters. To see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. And of course, a poem needn't be lofty to be memorable. If your tastes run in more irreverent channels, give Dorothy Parker a try. By the time you swear you're his, shivering and sighing, and he vows his passion is infinite, undying, lady, make a note of this. One of you is lying. In the English-speaking West, our eminence in all forms of poetry has been particularly enduring, though we haven't produced a Bach or a Beethoven in music, or a Rembrandt or Picasso in the visual arts. We have produced poets who are indisputably world-class. Shakespeare, Milton, Wordsworth, Emily Dickinson, Robert Frost, and more recently, Derek Walcott and John Ashbery, to name only an illustrious few. The most compelling reasons for reading poetry have been offered by the poets themselves: to make darkness visible, to catch the hum of thoughts evaded in the mind, to glimpse the gigantic shadows which futurity casts upon the present. But for the rest of us mere mortals, there is a more practical reason to welcome poetry into our midst. In the sheer ordinariness of our daily lives, each one of us has an incessant but silent conversation with ourselves. Over the course of a lifetime, we talk with ourselves much more than we talk to others. If we can learn from the poets how to see that world in a grain of sand, we are likely to think more elevated thoughts and have more delightful and animated conversations with ourselves. Emily Dickinson, perhaps our greatest American poet, got it just right. The brain is wider than the sky.